tax laws are for everybody to use if you have the right financial education. And the reason I'm an advocate of financial education, without that education, you'll have to pay taxes. You see, very few people will buy what I do, make $1 million and pay zero tax. Taxes are incentives. The reason I get tax breaks for real estate is because I provide housing. I get tax breaks for providing jobs. I get tax breaks for providing oil. And I get tax breaks for providing food. But most people see me as a crook. I'm not. The US government wants me to provide housing, wants me to provide jobs, wants me to borrow money, because that's how money is created, through debt, and to provide oil and food. I get huge tax breaks. Everybody can do the same thing if they had the financial education to do it. If people understood the tax code, we'd be more prosperous. Well, the reason the rich don't work for money is number one expense is tax. See, there's three kinds of income: earned, portfolio, passive. So earned income is if I get a job, that's earned income. If I'm a doctor or a programmer, that's earned income, because I'm working for it. If I buy, let's say, Apple for $10 and I sell it for 20, that's portfolio income, capital gains. But passive income, which is cash flow, is never taxed. So these guys are screaming right now in America, tax the rich. I said, good luck. Because most of the guys complaining, they don't know there's three kinds of income. And the rich don't have jobs anyway. They have assets. But the average person, that's not part of their consciousness. Our schools will never teach you that, three types of income. The higher your financial IQ, you don't need money. So since 1973, I just borrow money to get rich. So many people want to get rich, but they have horrible teachers. And then they work for fake money. The US dollar is fake. They print trillions of it every month. If you're going to be educated, a person has to know there's been credit and debt. All money today is credit. It doesn't exist. Credit is very simply the power to spend. That's all it is. So when you have a credit card, there's no money in that thing. They've just given you the power to spend. And the moment you spend it, you create debt. And then a debt is this contractual agreement that you'll pay it back, because it doesn't take money to make money. And that's one of the biggest lies they tell you. I came from a family with a poor attitude, if you know what I mean. Because rich, poor, middle class, poverty starts with a fundamental attitude. Poverty is passed on. It's taught in your families. And middle class is taught in families. And so the people right now who are sitting at home, who are struggling financially or worried about money or unhappy, they may be making a lot of money, but unhappy with what they're doing, they become what they say. My PhD daddy says, what do you think I am, made of money? I can't afford that. And my rich dad would say, that's why he's poor. Poor people say, I can't afford it, I can't do that, I don't have time.
And your rich dad used to say what instead of, I can't afford it?
How can I afford it? How can I do that? Or why should I do that? A question opens the mind, a statement closes the mind. See, when you say, I can't afford it, your mind shuts down and you become what you say. The 6 basic words to financial literacy and financial education are income, expense, asset, liability. And the last 2 words are the words cash flow. The secret to being rich is not a college education, but can you control cash flow? So you get a job, income comes in and it goes out this way. First line of expense is tax. So this is a poor person's cash flow pattern. This is a middle class person's cash flow pattern. They buy themselves a bigger house. But when you look at what happens with a house, the money comes in and goes out, and this is middle class, but it also goes out through a mortgage, taxes, and you have upkeep. So money's always flowing out. So that's why your house is not an asset, is because it's taking money from your pocket. So very simply said, assets put money in my pocket, liabilities take money from my pocket. One of the greatest ways to acquire great wealth is playing Monopoly in real life. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. Well, is that all there is? He goes, that's it. 10 years later, when I was 19, I was now in school in New York, and I come back to Hawaii, and Rich Dad had bought the biggest piece of land smack dab in the middle of Waikiki Beach. And when you go to Waikiki Beach today, you'll see the Hyatt Regency Hotel. That was his hotel, just like the game of Monopoly.
Acquired assets and they became bigger assets.
He just kept what's called an assemblage, because that property wasn't that big at the time, so he had to buy out all the small guys. And it took him a while, but he finally assembled this large piece of property, and then he and Hyatt put up this giant hotel. And it just sold for $800 million. So that's how I learned about money.